like, I mean, it's no secret. Everyone in hockey knows the Oilers are going to look at adding a defenseman. That is priority numero uno. When I look at this list, I don't like Lindgren. I don't think he's trustworthy enough. I don't really like Ristolainen. Borgen is fine, but whatever. The only name who I view as the defenseman you had in your top 25 as like a very good fit from stylistically, contract, cost to acquire, all that is Ivan Provorov. And then you look and see that Columbus is in a playoff spot today. So it's like, oh, they might not sell Ivan Provorov. But like, again, all I see on this list, it's Provorov, and I'm not sure if anyone else is a slam dunk good option.
And I'm not even sold that Provorov is moving. I think when you can, and also, as you can see here in the photo, a left shot defenseman doesn't really help the Oilers. It's obvious that they're overloaded on the left side. And can you have someone else that competes on the right side? Sure, but not an ideal trade target. But the other part with Provorov is he doesn't really want to leave. We talked this morning about the Russian connection on Columbus now, and really how they've changed the complexion of that team with Marchenko. I mean, he's on track for like 90 some points. Where'd that come from? And then you add in Provorov, his younger brother has committed to Ohio State and he'll be in Columbus next year. He's looking to re-sign. Now, does that mean that Columbus won't trade him and then ask to re-sign him in the summer? I mean, it's certainly possible that that's the way it plays itself out, but I don't think it's a guarantee that Ivan Provorov gets traded. And there's also the cap question, which our friend Kevin Carius, he had messaged me this morning and he was asking, how does the cap situation work with Provorov? Because LA has already retained 30%. Can you still have Columbus retain to get all the way up to the 75%? That's kind of the maximum. And the answer to that is no, because there was already a transaction that took place where 30% was retained. Any team can only retain a maximum of 50% of what's remaining to them at the time that they have the player. So they're going to leave potentially some money on the table in an imperfect cap transaction. We know with the Oilers, and relative to whatever Evander Kane's status is, every dollar counts.
Yeah, and the Kane thing, obviously a big question mark that the Oilers will need some form of clarity on if they want to be heavy buyers at the deadline. Mick Doust is in with one. I think it's a good question. Can you ask Frank why Matheson is off the list? Is it just because Montreal is doing so well? I mean, with term, he is a lefty, but he's playing the right side and has played the right side a ton. And when you look at Montreal, like, again, Matheson did a ton of good stuff on their power play last year, but that's obviously Lane Hudson's job now. They have all these youngsters coming. Like, even if Montreal's in the mix, is this maybe not a guy you could still see him moving?
He could be added to the mix. And look, I think the Habs are kind of non-committal on where that stands, because a lot of it's going to depend on what their playoff status is. If they're in the mix, I can tell you they're almost definitely hanging on to Mike Matheson, and they don't really want to trade him. But I think they're open to the idea that you just saw the list of defensemen. The market isn't teeming of quality defensemen. So if someone's willing to come in and knock your socks off and say, hey, Mike Matheson's got an extra year left on his deal, what can we do to get him? They might have to consider that earlier than they'd probably even really want to. So I think they're open to it. I think it's going to require a sizable package. The benefit being that you do get that extra year as opposed to just being a pure rental. And with the cap going up, maybe he's someone that the Oilers could hang on to, which would make a lot of sense. But there are some out there that question Matheson's defending ability outside of the offensive production that he obviously has. Like, I think he was 9th among defensemen in points last year, kind of very under the radar. The Oilers obviously don't need that, but people that I trust that watch Matheson really closely, they suggest that his defense is actually way better than he's given credit for.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.